Would I be the asshole for telling my boyfriend's parents I'm not his babysitter? I, 23 female, have been dating my boyfriend Josh, 29 male, for 2 years. We live together as well. Recently, his parents have started asking me to get him to do things. Make sure Josh to go to the dentist for his cracked tooth. Or, make sure Josh updates his passport. Or, make sure Josh changes his pet food for his cat. We don't like the brand. Or, make sure Josh does his taxes. You may need to sit with him and help. The most recent has been convincing Josh to get a new job in an entirely unrelated field because Josh's parents don't feel like he makes enough money. Josh makes $70K. I make $110K, so we are doing fine. Typically I respond with some variation of, I'm fully capable, Josh can figure it out himself, and if not, it will be a good learning experience for him. But that hasn't stopped Josh's parents. Now I'm planning on being a little harsher and telling them I'm not Josh's babysitter and to leave me out of these concerns. Would I be the asshole for saying that? Is there anything else I should do differently? Too long did not read. Boyfriend's parents want me to make sure he does normal adult tasks. I feel it is not my job. Warning: if they believe this is your job as the woman, they likely have raised Josh to believe this as well. It may not be evident in the early stages of your relationship, but as time goes on and pressures add, responsibilities pile on, and maybe you add kids, you might find Josh doesn't pick up tasks like this because he's never had to and deep down believes that's your role. Ask me how I know this. Lived it. Not the asshole, but keep a very close eye on this. You may not be seeing it yet and his words may be saying the right thing, but watch to see what he does over time and pressure. They sound awful. Where's Josh in all this? Why isn't he telling them to shut up? He's really the one that needs to confront his parents to get it to stop. While you're not the asshole for being fed up, you can turn into one by creating drama if you go too far. Girl, you have a bigger problem than you even see, because no matter what his parents are like, if your older boyfriend had even an iota of maturity or responsibility, he would be keeping track of these things himself. Keep arguing with his parents if that's your prerogative, but you're wasting your time because the reality is that you're dating a man who isn't taking ownership of his responsibilities. He expects these things to be sorted out for him. Even if you let his parents keep doing that for now, eventually they'll just die and he'll be furious at you for not taking over, because at that point he'll be grieving. This story is a bleak look down a long dark tunnel of a life. Turn back now. Not the asshole. I think Josh needs to handle his parents. That's not your job. He needs to tell them, hey, I keep hearing you tell Op to remind me about things and make appointments. It feels a little weird to me when you treat her like my personal assistant. Not the asshole. I just tell them, I'm his partner, not his mother, babysitter, personal assistant. Please stop messaging, calling me about this stuff. And then just block if they keep harassing you. Why are they eating Josh's cat's food? Seriously, though, they sound awful. Am I the asshole for kicking out my jobless friend who turned a few days visit into a 3-week stay? I, 24F, have been friends with my college roommate for 6 years. We were super close in school but grew apart after graduation. She moved across the country and we mostly kept in touch through social media. Last month, she messaged me saying she was going through a rough patch, lost her job, boyfriend dumped her, and wanted to visit for a few days to clear her head. I felt bad and said yes. Well, those few days turned into 3 weeks. She's been sleeping on my couch, eating my food, using my stuff, and not contributing anything. I work from home and she's constantly interrupting my workday with her drama. When I suggested maybe it's time to look for a ticket home, she burst into tears saying she has nowhere to go and I'm her only support system. Yesterday I had an important Zoom meeting and specifically asked her to be quiet for 1 hour. Halfway through, she starts blasting music and FaceTiming someone in the living room. My boss definitely heard and I was mortified. That night, I finally snapped and told her she needed to leave by the end of the week. I even offered to help buy her plane ticket. She called me heartless and said a real friend would support her, no matter what. She's been posting vague stuff on social media about finding out who your true friends are during hard times. I feel guilty because she is going through a lot, but I'm also exhausted from the constant emotional labor and lack of boundaries. My apartment is tiny and I never signed up to be someone's indefinite crash pad and therapist. So, am I the asshole for kicking out my friend when she's down on her luck? Not the asshole. This is a common story. Couch surfing friend rides the goodwill wave as long as they can, then moves on to the next friend. If they're serious about getting back on their feet, they'll be applying for jobs and housing, helping around the house, or if nothing else trying to process their feelings so they can move on, using you as a sounding board in lieu of a therapist. If not, they're a bum, and you have to give them the boot the minute they inconvenience you. It seems harsh, but it's necessary to prevent them from sinking any further. Hopefully in a few years she'll apologize for her embarrassing behavior. Not the asshole. She might have tough things at the moment, but you're helping her doesn't allow her to take over your home and your life. She wants to wallow, I get that, but she now needs to help herself. If she's video calling people, you're not her only contact in life. Time for her to step back up into adulting, find a job being the priority. A few days to clear her head, that's what you agreed to, not 3 weeks. Your friend sounds like she's using you and has no respect for your boundaries. She's emotionally manipulating you into letting her stay longer. Disrupting your work is the last straw. You need to kick this freeloader to the curb, not the asshole. She knew what she was doing when she asked to visit. She had no plans of leaving. So look at it that way. She manipulated you, and couldn't even be respectful to what you have going on in your life. Not the asshole. Send the overstaying guest on her way, before she establishes residency. If she doesn't have a return ticket, feel free to help her with that. She may want to return to those college roommate days, but you didn't sign up for that. She needs to move forward, not back in her manipulation or not inclining you toward any future friendship. Not the asshole. She was interfering with your work and that could have resulted in disciplinary action if it continued. Would I be the asshole if I didn't give my coworker a custom baby gift? I have a side hobby making custom baby chalkboards, the kind where you fill in monthly information about height, weight, hash of teeth, things they love, milestones, favorites, etc. I have given one away as a gift to a coworker last fall for her first baby, and I've got another coworker who is due with her first child in about 2 months. Coworker, Grace, knows about the baby boards, has commented on their cuteness, and also knew about the gifted one I made for our coworker. I kindly asked her a few months ago if she would like me to make a custom one as a gift for her child due early this summer, and she said, yes. Today, I found out that Grace recently had a baby shower that coworkers were invited to. I didn't get an invite. This was talked about in public at the workplace today at lunch. Multiple women were talking about a baby name, guessing game they had played with her, and I jokingly said, oh, was there a name guessing sheet that I missed out on? Not knowing about the shower. A few of the ladies kinda looked away and didn't say anything, but Grace said nonchalantly, oh, it wasn't something everyone was invited to, and I didn't think you'd want to come. I kinda laughed and brushed it off, but inside I was a bit hurt as I have a pretty good working relationship with her and definitely would have attended if I was invited, available. I'm now unsure if I should make her a custom baby board when I wasn't invited to the shower. I brought it up with my husband, and he thinks I shouldn't make one unless she expressly asks me about it again. Would I be the asshole if I didn't make her this custom gift? Not the asshole, don't make her one, and when she asks why, reply with, oh, I don't do it for everyone, and since you thought I didn't want to be at your shower, I thought that you didn't want anything from me. I'm being extra petty today. Not the asshole, and if she asks about it I'd simply say, if you didn't think it's close enough to invite me to the shower, asking for a free gift again isn't very polite. After I wasn't included, it doesn't seem that there is a close enough connection to warrant that level of effort on my part to make a free board. But I do sell them, and if you'd like to purchase one I charge $X for them. Not the asshole. If she asks, just say, sorry, I didn't think you wanted one. Shrug, smile cheerily, and get back to your day. A custom, made with care gift should go to someone who values the giver as well as the gift. Not the asshole. I used to crochet baby blankets for my coworkers until I found out I wasn't invited to any of the showers. I stopped. Don't put your effort into people who don't appreciate you as a person. Smile cheerily and say, oh sorry Grace, I only make those for shower gifts. You know how it is. And go about your day. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. She expected it, and then despite your kindness was rude as hell. If it was a matter of it being a close friends and family affair it might be different, but it seems you were the one that was excluded. She can go fuck herself. I wouldn't make it into a big deal. Hell, since she didn't think you wanted to come, you can just say you forgot she wanted one. Am I the asshole for not allowing my ex-wife to see our daughter? My ex-wife and I have a daughter together, who's now 4 years old. We were together for about 3 years total, 2 years dating and 1 year married. After our daughter was born, she lasted about 2 months before telling me, and these were her exact words, I don't want to be a mom. She voluntarily relinquished her parental rights not long after. We ended up going back and forth in court for nearly a year over child support because she argued, and again, her actual words, women shouldn't pay child support. Since then, she's had zero contact with our daughter. Not a birthday card, not a gift, not even a, how is she doing? We live in a small town, so it's not like distance is a factor. She's just never cared. Fast forward to now. I've recently started seeing someone, my first relationship since the divorce. She has a son just a month older than my daughter, and the two kids have become best friends. Things have been going really well. Then out of nowhere, my ex finds out about the relationship and suddenly wants to be involved again. She says that, Another woman shouldn't be raising her child, which she's not. I am. She's also been throwing around threats about trying to get custody, even though she voluntarily gave up her rights and legally can't. I honestly don't even think she understands how any of that works. So now I'm just sitting here like, am I wrong for wanting to shut all of this down? She had 4 years to be in our daughter's life and never once showed interest until someone else stepped in. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. She's playing games and will drop as soon as she causes enough trouble. Might want to notify daycare, babysitters, schools wherever she goes that the birth mother does not have custody and has no visitation, so she can't show up there and take your daughter. Not the asshole. She said, I don't want to be a mom, and dipped. But now that another woman is in the picture, suddenly she's maternal? That's not love, that's ego with a custody complex. You're not blocking a loving parent. You're enforcing the boundaries she put in place when she handed over her rights. She doesn't get to ghost for 4 years and then pop back up like this is season 2 and she's reclaiming her role. You're doing the hard work. You're raising your daughter. That's what matters, not some surprise cameo from someone who opted out the second it wasn't convenient. Let her huff and puff. She can't blow down a house she legally walked away from. I don't want to be a mom. She voluntarily relinquished her parental rights. She didn't want to be a mom from minute one. And in the 4 years since, has never once showed any support, love, or fleeting interest in how her daughter has been in all that time. As you say, until you started a new relationship. Now she feels threatened, and is making a show out of it. I would absolutely see a lawyer, and see what can be done. Your ex legally relinquished her maternal rights, so that makes things a whole lot easier. Her current actions also clearly show she is unfit, and probably mentally unwell. You and your family deserve peace. It is a small town, and it's easy to cause a stir. I'd nip this in the bud sooner rather than later. Not the asshole. Hen out of nowhere, my ex finds out about the relationship and suddenly wants to be involved again. I mean, she relinquished her parental rights. She's also been throwing around threats about trying to get custody. Good luck, lol. Can't imagine a judge looking too kindly on her considering her abandonment of your child and all. Not the asshole. You are the legal father, the only legal parent. Only you can determine if the biological mother would cause harm to your daughter or not. I'm sure you'll make the best decision while keeping your daughter's interest at heart. I certainly won't blame you if you decided to protect your daughter from her completely until she is of an age to handle the situation herself. I'm thinking 18 here. First of all, if she gave up parental rights, which many judges will not grant, then she is no longer on the hook for child support. Legally, this is not her daughter. Second of all, if she actually gave up those parental rights, she doesn't have a leg to stand on. Unless you want to set up visitation with your daughter, personally I would block and ignore her. Not the asshole. You're trying to protect your child, and I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't know how stable she is, but maybe you could try explaining it to her in a way like, having you come in and out of her life whenever you feel like it is not healthy for the child. It's confusing, and can be damaging. If you want to re-establish contact, I suggest we go through the courts or another professional to help guide us. I can see how you might feel like the asshole because she is her mother, but she needs to live with the consequences of her decisions.